We start with a point. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Imagining the 10th Dimension video blog. Just before we get started here today, just a reminder that if you look down in the links below this video, I always do provide a link back to the text version and any other links that come up in the discussion. Do follow those if you want to find out more about what we're talking about here, or you just want to read along. Today's entry is called Changing Reality. A few months ago, I was interviewed by Karis Alexander of Big Fish Strategies, and this is a link I'm putting up now to the YouTube movie I created, which lets you listen to all 76 minutes if you feel so inclined. This seemed like a great opportunity for me to step back and look at what has happened with Imagining the 10th Dimension since I launched it 4 years ago. The 10th Dimension website has now had 6 million unique visitors and almost 100 million hits since July 2006 when it was launched. I'm continually amazed and thankful for the audience that keeps growing for this project. Why, people have asked me, did I create this project? I remember one of the very first negative comments I saw about Imagining the 10th Dimension was from someone who said, "I haven't read the book, but it looks like this is yet another get-rich-quick scam from someone saying, woo-woo, change your life with the power of the 10th Dimension." I'm saying it this way because I feel they were imagining a spooky echo on those last words for added emphasis. In my blog entry, New Book Reviews at Amazon, one of the reviews I quoted was from Australia's Richard Ruff, who had this to say about my book. In an easily readable style, he has boldly taken us past the 4th dimension through to the 10th, employing an understandable logic based on geometric considerations. There is no mind-boggling mathematics, and there's a distinct absence of the crackpot style. Each step along the way is carefully developed in a sequential manner, accompanied by readily understandable diagrams. Again, without being too technical, he correlates properties of the unfolding dimensions with predictions and outcomes of modern physics, especially quantum mechanics. Philosophical implications are explored along the way. Thank you, Richard, for those kind words. I work hard with this blog and with this project to present these ideas without sensationalizing them. My willingness to talk about such a wide range of topics, including out-of-body experiences as we did last blog entry, ghosts, or predicting the future, does make it easier for mainstream scientists to dismiss my ideas if they wish. But with this project, I've also talked about serious theories and studies that tie into these discussions very easily. Epigenetics, the doubled effectiveness of the placebo effect over the last few decades, the holographic universe theory, retrocausality, and the biocentric universe theory. These are examples of the mind-blowing new concepts which I've been pleased to show to the many people who are fans of this project, and which show there is much more to our reality than the physical world of atoms and molecules that we see around us. In the 5th Dimensional Camera project, we looked at how my project's central idea, that our reality, our now, is really being created in the 5th dimension from a 5th dimensional probability space, was recently presented in a display created by John Ardern and Anab Jain and supervised by scientists from Oxford University. Near the end of my Theatre of the Mind interview with Kelly Howell, we talked about how this important idea of the 5th dimension was accepted by Einstein almost a century ago, and yet never seems to have entered mainstream consciousness. Lots of people my age still think the 5th dimension is a pop group from the 60s and nothing more. When talking with Kelly, I suggested that there could be reasons why this information has been suppressed. After all, this shows ways of understanding that free will is not an illusion, and it shows that we each have access to many more possibilities in our life than most of us have been led to believe. As I said in my article for Urban Garden magazine, this could be why for those in power over the last century, and for those who have been trained to take a grim satisfaction in saying our existence in the universe means nothing, the 5th dimension is a dangerous idea. But for a person who has no hope, or sees no way out of the negative loops they're currently stuck within, this project can represent an awakening. And I hear from people every day telling me that Imagining the 10th Dimension has changed their life and the way they view the world. As I've said before, the 5th dimension isn't magic. I believe the 5th dimension represents the constantly changing probability space of multiple pasts and futures that are logically, causally connected to our now, which is a Planck frame-sized point in the 5th dimension. That means there's already a version of you that exists within that probability space 10 years from now who is living the most happy and fulfilled life possible. I believe, as Dr. Philip Zimbardo's studies revealed in the time paradox, that visualizing that person as already being part of your future can create a strong pull towards that best possible you that already exists. And if you go to the text version of my blog, you'll see an entry called Holodynamics that talks about Dr. Vernon Wolfe, who has some powerful visualization techniques for actually consulting with that best possible you to help you get there. So how much control do we have? That's the gigantic question that became Chapter 9 of my book. It's really the trickiest part of this discussion. As we discussed in Beer and Miracles, there are already some stunningly unlikely things about our reality which could lead us to conclude that anything is possible. Recently I came across this uplifting video created by Brian Walton, who has two websites. One's called Oxygen for the Mind and the other's Dancing in the Mirror. You'll see that Brian has lots of podcasts and web materials that relate to the ideas in the video I'm linking to here, as well as focusing on ways for people to remove stress from their lives. Now in this video, Brian arrives at a way of visualizing the 4th through 6th dimension as a probability and intention-based manifold encompassing all possible pasts and futures for our universe. I'm pleased to see him advancing this idea since it's central to my own project as well. We've talked a number of times about this in my book and in such entries as Time in 3 Dimensions, The Forest, You Are the Point, and What's Around the Corner. My animation shows that the quantum wave function for our universe can be thought of as having 3 dimensions, 4 through 6, just as space has 3 dimensions, 1 through 3. This can be extended even further by the time we're in a third triad that encompasses the information equals reality paradigm and the multiverse landscape of possible universes that can be accessed via the 7th through 9th dimension. We'll talk about a number of different approaches to understanding reality that connect to this idea next time in 3 Becomes 1. My name's Rob Bryanton. Enjoy the journey.